So I'm going to try to remove that rocker shaft that's in here. This is what I have. I have a 6 stud, threaded stud, and have this just turning, and that rocker arm slowly coming out. So I didn't remove them totally from the head because all I want is to remove the tappets, because I need to get my valve tool, my valve compressor, to remove the valves and the springs. Okay, now that scared me. So apparently, I think the valve or the tappets were stuck to, something was stuck, and then I was really putting compression, and I'm like, the spring wasn't moving, and then finally it gave in and it just shot in and let go of the keepers. So here's one keeper right here. This little thing right here. I don't know where the other one went. I have to look for it. But now I have to slowly back out because it's under compression or tension, and I'm just slowly backing off. Yeah, I was wondering, I'm like, why is it not, the spring not compressing? And that can be really dangerous. You have to be really careful when doing this. Your tool is centered, this is centered, and as well wear eye protection, which I always do when I'm working with springs and stuff, because it can be really dangerous and you can take out your eye. So I really don't know where that other keeper went, but let me show you. So now the valves should come out. So here's, if I can take it out. So here is a spring right here, and then that's the intake valve right here. So like on this side, if I just tap it from that other side, it should, the intake valve should come off. And here it goes. Let me just, there we go. And here it is. This is the intake valve. It's kind of black for intake valve, but we're gonna get this clean up. Both of them, both of the valves clean up, honed, seated. Yeah. So there's that other keeper. I need to look for the other one. I'm just gonna push that other valve, and here's that valve. This is the exhaust valve, so it's more black than the intake. when I did a compression test, the engine only had around, I think it was 60 psi of compression, which is not good. Maybe why it was having a hard time being on. So I did check that test to see if it was valves leaking, which they were. But another thing that I'm going to check is to see if maybe the surface of the head and where the cylinder meet, I want to check if there's any warpage going on. So what I like to do is get a ruler or a level and see if I can find anything that's warped. Try to check across. Try to do it flat like this. It actually looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks really good. I'm also going to be checking the cylinder head for warpage, but I'm still going to do a little sanding. But when I do this, you want to find a really flat, true surface that's flat, like a piece of granite or a mirror. Put some sandpaper, wet sand, and then place it down like this and just sand it like that, and it'll also help clean the surface too. So I have the cylinder right here and I'm about to hone it. This is the honing tool that I have. I feel like it's a little big for this little cylinder, but it'll work. You can use oil or WD-40. You just want the cylinder to be lubricated. Put this in here. Okay. Just start. You want to get a nice crosshatch, and I think that's about enough that I'm gonna do. Actually, it looks pretty good. And I didn't do this on the first time when I took this engine apart. Maybe you can see. It's hard to tell. I don't have the best quality camera. So right here I have a piece of marble. You can also use a piece of granite or a glass. You just want something that's a surface that's flat, like as flat as possible. And then I have a 80 grit sandpaper, and it's actually 800 grit actually, I believe. 800 grit wet and dry sandpaper. So we're just going to do this, get that nice and wet, and So right here we have our cylinder. So what I'm going to do is just face it down and then just go move it side to side. Turn this over. Wipe it out. Now I'm going to try it with the head, which I removed the valves. Next step that I'm going to do is lapping the valves. So I have my exhaust valve and my intake valves. Clean them the best I could. And then I have my lapping tool and some valve grinding compound. So I'm going to start with the exhaust valve, which is this smaller one. Slap some compound onto here. Doesn't need that much, as long as it has the edges covered. And the key for this is you want to hear a higher pitch. When you first start out, that compound has, it's grainy. So it helps it, kind of, sand down the contact points so you can get a good seal, good compression in the chamber. So you keep doing this and you'll hear the difference of the sound that the grinding is making. And at first you can really hear it like grinding, but like once it starts like grinding down, the sound gets into a higher pitch. Just having a hard time having this. There's some numbers on top of that valve, so it's hard for it to. I can already like hear it sounding better. Let's take out the valve. Wipe down. And actually this looks pretty good. It's a nice good, it looks pretty good. There's a nice good, like a dull gray. I'm sorry, my camera's not the best. I'm gonna try to get a better camera for doing this stuff for YouTube. But yeah, that looks pretty good. In here you can see a good nice dull ring around the cavity here of the where the valve sits in. And I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna now move on to the intake valve, which is a bigger diameter valve.